I just got back from Jeremy Haynes' Q3 Inner Circle Mastermind, and in this video, I'm gonna break down everything I learned and how I'm gonna apply it to my business to go from our consistent 650, 700K per month all the way back to 1 million. And I say back to 1 million because while I was there, I picked up my $1 million per month trophy. It's a big focus of Jeremy's mastermind. We hit this back in December, and I hadn't picked it up since then because I've been traveling. I've been in Buenos Aires, Mexico City, a bunch of different places, but finally back home in Miami, and I went by and picked it up. And that actually was a focus of the event. I'm going to talk about that in a second, how I kind of ended up being a point, but the point that he made during the presentation really resonated with me, and I'll talk about that in that one there. So I'm not going to make this a big video about reviewing Jeremy's Inner Circle or anything like that. Highly recommend it if you are looking to scale the marketing side of your business. Once you have fulfillment figured out, once you have sales figured out, it's highly tailored towards marketing, and that is our biggest bottleneck. So in the past, I've been part of different masterminds for sales. This one specifically is all focused around marketing, and so that is why I'm in it right now. And so anyone looking to scale the front end of something that is already working, producing high quality results, that's where I recommend joining with Jeremy, because he's got a lot of the best frameworks and just general high level paid advertising. And so we have a heavy organic brand and we want to scale it with paid, adding fuel to the fire. So that's why I'm a part of it. So quick overview of this event. He holds 4 masterminds per year on top of his Telegram group. Again, I'm not going to dig too far into the overall way that his mastermind works, but he had 4 guest speakers alternating between networking with the other guys and then sitting down for a speaker back and forth. They had a second networking day on Sunday, but I didn't go because I had so many takeaways from the first one. It's like, I just need to get to work. Part of my takeaway was filming more, and so here I am filming. So Jeremy, he spoke on mindset and what's required to get to the next level. Then we have Brez Scales, who's like a 20-year-old YouTube and Instagram, TikTok kid who's running like a freelance brand scaling offer. It was really cool to see how he thinks about content and how they scaled from 400K a month with just organic to about 1.1 million with paid. Some good takeaways there. Jeremy Moser, a good friend of mine, talked on his IG funnel and shared a lot of things on content and their setting process. Ryan Klog, I don't know if there's 2 Gs there. You've probably seen, if you're watching this video, some of Ryan's stuff. He talked on his YouTube strategy and then an overview of the B2C women's fitness funnel. They're doing 3 million a month. 10% margins there, which I was surprised at, but it's just interesting to hear even more behind the scenes of it. That might be a little bit higher. I don't want to quote anything specific there, but Josh Troy then spoke on sales and operations, took general Q&A from the audience, talking about sales, tons of nuggets from that one. And then, so I went in with a pretty good chunk of clarity on exactly what I needed to do. I just got back from a week filming like 3,600 ads in a week because our bottleneck was on the creative testing front and having enough creative to feed Meta. So we solved that with volume, and I'm going to make another video on that. It might be linked around here if I've already made it, or you can just find it on my channel. But because of that, most of the things from the event were just reminders of things I know I need to do, and then some just small golden nuggets like tactical that I could go bring to the team. Nothing changed strategically for me from this specific mastermind, but it was just very tactical little upgrades to make. So with that, I'm gonna dive into the first talk, which is Jeremy. So Jeremy kicked off the mastermind with a pretty tough call out of me, but I needed it. And it was all about the fact that I was picking up my $1 million a month trophy, but I've been below $1 million a month since then. And that was true. We hit $1 million in November/December, and then have been about 600, 750 a month on average since then. And that was his whole talk. It's like what you have to do personally to get yourself to sustain a level of revenue like that. And so I'm gonna dig into my takeaways on it. But basically, he talked about success like this mountain, where there are a handful of summits that you'll camp out along the way based on your revenue level. And so as you scale each summit, you have to take whatever is keeping you with the current summit, the desire or reason that sits at the next summit has to force you into making the sacrifice to leave the comfortable place you're at and scale to the next one. And so as you keep scaling, the desires and reasons must get upgraded as well. Otherwise, you'll be sitting at your cozy whatever summit with all of the nice material things, lifestyle things, personal satisfaction things that you have, and look at climbing another freaking mountain and go, I'm actually pretty cool here. And it's actually not like a conscious decision, it's just subconscious, where if you don't have this big draw to the next level, you're just not gonna put in the discretionary effort and discipline and like big thinking, whatever it is. You have to have big draws to get you there. And so his main point is like, if you feel that you've been at a revenue level for however long, it's because you haven't upgraded your reasons to climb again. And so I created these buckets for myself based on some of the things that he mentioned, but basically you have to come up with these draws. So it can be material or experience, like you want to buy certain things or experience certain things that you're currently unable to do or unable to do comfortably based on your current net worth, income, etc. You can have internal drive, which is just you feel like you're capable of more and therefore you push. And sometimes you feel that you've achieved a ton and don't need to keep pushing, and that's what keeps you at a current one, but then you have to redefine what it means to grow. You can have external driver status, so you want to hit something so other people recognize you. I'm not going to say any of these are right or wrong. I'm just listing them all out. Some of these might resonate with you more. Some of them might be, more relevant to someone else, but external driver status. So, you hit $1 million a month. People think that's cool. Great. The other three here are all impact driven. So not anything to do with you. It's client impact. So you're driven by the genuine desire to help more people and deliver your solution to the world. Or team impact. You want to help your team get rich. You want them to have upside and success and more growth, all those things. And then family impact. Like you want to take care of your family. You want to seed future family investments. You want to fly all your family out for a vacation. All of these are kind of like buckets. And if you're stuck at the current level, it's because you have not created drivers or reasons to pull you up to the next one in these categories. And so it's worth being brutally honest with yourself when you have been at a certain revenue level like we have for a little bit. It's like you probably weighed the trade-offs of what it would take there and didn't find it worth it at the time, and that's okay. But I think where you'll run into frustration is when you try to scale without really feeling the exact drive that's going to take you there, you're just not going to get there. And it sounds almost woo-woo, but like your subconscious knows when you don't really want to go there. And so it's going to hold you back in subtle ways. So just have an honest conversation as well with yourself, your business partner, whoever's involved with this. Like what's actually driving you? I did some reflection and realized that I'm going to jump to this part here, which is a nice exercise to do is to go through your past jumps in income and business revenue and think about what were those drivers then, because they have gotten upgraded no matter what level you're at now. There was some other driver, unless you're at zero. If you're at zero, you're at that summit, so you need new reasons to get off zero, and that is a variety of reasons. But basically, if you look back, and this is what I did, all of my other leaps in income, I could point to all of the drivers that took me there. Like when I just started Ship30, which was my very first business on the side, it was just to make an additional 1K per month to pay half my rent. That was my big thing. I was like, oh my goodness, if I could make $1,000 per month on the internet, like this is a home run. Then as Ship30 started to scale, I wanted to hit certain financial goals, like buy my mom a house or have 100K net worth or whatever it was. Then we camped out there for a little bit. And it's like, okay, I want to move out and have my own place in Miami. Great. Then I wanted to travel more. So I wanted to be able to fly business and wanted to stay in nicer hotels. Then we started another business and it was more revenue or less revenue driven and more like impact driven and personal internal growth as an entrepreneur driven. And so all of these things I can point to, and I haven't done a good enough job reflecting on what my new drivers are, because my life has improved unbelievably since I got started. More income, more status, better every part of my life objectively than when I started. But once you hit those things, they have to change. And I put this here, it's like, as we've continued to grow, it becomes harder to set new desires because your identity is often still catching up to the fact that you reached all the things you once dreamt of without enough time to really reevaluate how that should evolve as you go to the next level. And so that might resonate with anyone here of if you're at a current level and it's been there for a bit, you sometimes do have to camp out there for a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever it is, and rebuild the foundation, whatever it needs to be. But once you are there and you have that foundation, and this is the season that I'm in right now, it's what are those drivers and what is going to unlock the discretionary effort in yourself, remove the limiting beliefs that you can't get there, and just inspire more action. So Jeremy's talk resonated with me the most. I was ready to leave the event about an hour in and just go to work on all the things I know I needed to do, because I was like, yeah, I need to go redefine my drivers and then focus on getting to the next level, which is gonna be the consistent $1 million per month, which I alluded to at the beginning. So that was Jeremy. I reluctantly grabbed my trophy. I do have it in my house, but I'm not going to celebrate it very much until we are there consistently. All right, Brez and his business partner talked. I never heard of this kid before. He's built an audience as a 20-year-old crashing. I don't even know if that's how you spell Lambo. I think that's how you spell the football field. That shows how much I enjoy cars. But he's built a huge organic audience just running around making money as a 20-year-old, which is awesome for him. And so not a huge number of takeaways there in terms of like organic content and style that I want to go with. But I did take 2 or 3 things away from their presentation. The first is this WAP clipping game is wild. You're paying editors $2 per 1,000 views, so $2 CPMs on repurposing all of his long form or other reels onto a ton of trial accounts across TikTok and IG. And then he takes the ones that work well and then puts them on his main channel, whatever it is. So he spends $50,000 a month generating 25 million impressions. If I did the math on that right, I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot. So obviously CPMs on like 16-year-olds that don't even have credit cards are not that expensive, but still, I thought it was really interesting to think about like how he's running almost brand awareness campaigns across every social media platform, just with people doing all the work on his behalf. So not something I'm going to dig into immediately, but I just thought it was interesting that world exists. And sometimes anytime I see a new like ideal scene or something like that, I'm always interested. So that was cool. This was actually the biggest takeaway from it, which is show, don't tell. And so he does on his business channel. It was cool to see his breakdown of like, he's got this, lifestyle, cars, and 20-year-old whatever. And then he's got like this more business focused one that he sends pre-call. And I'm like, okay, that's smart to have them separate, and some soft CTAs from his main channel over to that one. But he said he did some like before and after client consults with some of his students. And then rather than just do that like generic, two guys on Zoom having a conversation, like
how much money did you make?
They do it like in a tasteful, edited way that kind of walks them through the hero's journey of it. I haven't actually watched them, but I just thought it was interesting of how can you do more show, don't tell content. And I think Hormozi started to do this with like Shark Tank style consults. And we want to do that now in our Premium Ghostwriting Academy, taking some of our students, having Cole on one of the weekly calls. That's where I'm thinking the most about this, is like, how can we take work we're already doing or calls we already have scheduled and then create the outline or the like raw footage for one of these more edited style before and afters. So that was cool. And then this was I said the show don't tell was the biggest takeaway from the last one, but doing the money math is the first thing I did right there during the presentation. I've heard this before and we do it and we just forget to come back to it all the time. And so for every goal that we have, it's just a math equation. And how I've been thinking about this is, let's say we want to do a certain number of book calls per month. We actually could spend whatever dollar amount is necessary to do that right now. It just would not be profitable. And so we have a very simple challenge of like, it's not whether or not we can book that many calls, it's can we do so profitably? And so I know that if I turn the ad spend up, we're going to hit that number. It just might not be in a way that makes us want to run the business. So I say that because when you do the money math, it's like, okay, well, what do we have to do to make it profitable, knowing that we can? And it's just a separate way of thinking of like, can we scale with paid? It's just how well can we scale with paid? And so that is like the main focus of what we're working on right now, is trying to build out a webinar and VSL funnel. And I'm trying to take this takeaway of doing the money math and just echo it to my entire team and departments and everyone from the ground up. It's like, we have very specific numbers that we've reverse engineered. How do we obsess over hitting those every single day? So that was cool, just a reminder. And I'm sitting there scribbling all the numbers. I'm like, I know these numbers. I just haven't communicated them to the team. Nice stuff from Brez. They got a cool business and had some good takeaways from there. Next, I'm just gonna jump straight into Ryan. I like Ryan a lot. He's got a great YouTube channel. I don't know if there's 1G or 2Gs. I have 1G here, but 2 in the other one. So Ryan, if you're watching this or if someone else is watching this, he's got great content. He does a really tasteful breakdown of all the things he's doing inside his fitness business. I did find that his daily videos were too much, just because I feel that at certain points he was just trying to make them, which is fine. But I liked the interviews better. And so there's tons of good interviews there. And then the more strategic, like here's what we're doing, big picture, I also really liked too. So he's moving away from daily over to, I don't know his new cadence, but either way, I'm gonna keep watching. What I took away from his presentation is I'm gonna make more content like this, like he does, that just talks about what I'm doing in the business. And so I'm gonna make 2 videos per week. One is some educational or like breakdown style, something we've done or we do well or we're working on, my approach to it. And then another just more documentary style of like, here's the revenue we hit last week, and here's the projects we're working on, and here's what I'm struggling with on the paid ads front, and like here's our new creative testing product. Like all those things I want to almost document weekly for no other reason than myself. And I personally would love to watch that from other business owners, and to the extent that I'm trying to attract and become more build a better group of people who are in this world that I can have conversations with. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to model some of what Ryan has done, because he's done a tremendous job with it. And then one small nugget on the email side, they send 2 emails per day. We only send 1 per day, and we thought that was a lot. But they basically take a 30-day open, 90-day click, and they have like I don't even know, I'm estimated it was like 2 million, but it's probably even more just based on the number of leads they have. And so they are just constantly sending emails to book calls, and we only send 1 per day. I'm like, why aren't we sending 2? Have we theoretically maxed out at 1? We should test more. So I went home and told our team, like, let's try with more value, sending more value emails across the board. Rather than only sending value or only sending direct. It's like indirect or direct every day, and then value on top of that, just driving more people back to YouTube, back to interviews, things like that. So I'm gonna pause, talk a little bit about Jeremy, because Jeremy Moser had an awesome talk on IG. Moving on to Jeremy Moser, who I've become friends with. He runs a Instagram marketing / setting agency, which is pretty cool. It's almost like ghostwriting on the content, but also deploys setters to generate sales. I liked his agency style. So my big takeaways were all about how to create a Instagram funnel. And we have a decent one. It probably does 100K per month on average. We want to get that to like 3 or 4. We have the following to do so. It's just a skill issue. So on the content strategy side, we're doing like 3 podcast talking head, clips per day. He instead emphasizes 1 high quality edited reel over the talking head rather than 3 reels per day. And this is actually incorrect. I just talked to him. He only CTAs like 3 or 4 times a week, but just assumes that people click the link in the bio or send a DM, whatever your CTA is. So I took away that his content strategy, 5 reels, 1 educational carousel, and then 2 times per day stories. This is the missing link for us. We're not sending very many stories right now. It's failing to create that connection with the audience that we're looking to create, and that's what ultimately will generate sales down the road. So our Instagram feels more formulaic right now. We need to put more effort into creating a better experience there. So that's step 1. And then step 2 was just the flow chart of his setting process was awesome. So he sent me the SOP after, really detailed, put so much intention into figuring out the prospect's level of awareness. And then one of my takeaways was their level of organization in all the assets to send people based on their location in the buyer awareness curve. And that's really nicely organized for them. And something that I want to implement immediately is based on, unaware, problem aware, solution aware, whatever Eugene Schwartz things are. What are the best assets to send based on that? And we want to do a better job building that out. So they have a nice flow chart. I know he runs a couple big Instagram accounts with really good setting processes. I almost just want him to run ours. So Jeremy, if you're watching this, maybe we should do that, because it's not a distraction, but it's also a missed opportunity for us, and we could be doing it much better. So a lot for me to learn there, a lot for our setting team to learn there. So I'm gonna just make sure we're focusing on that. The big thing that was, an aha, or not an aha, but an oh shit for me, was that he tries to get 10 to 15% of DMs and leads into booked sales calls. We currently sit around 3 to 5%. He said it's not a lead quality issue. It's really just a follow-up and skill issue with our setting team as he scanned all the things we have. So that's on me to better educate everyone on our team on the standard, and also just find resources, other people who can come in and educate us on that as well. So lots of good stuff from Jeremy. If you're looking for, good content on running an Instagram funnel, I think he might even have an inner circle offer or something like that. So I'd highly recommend go to check him out. And then we finished with Josh Troy. I really like this guy, man. He's an articulate sales guy, sales operator. That's the best way to describe him. He's he loves, systems and CRMs, but he also will objection handle off the bat with an offer he's never heard of, and just perfect tonality. So I know he's putting together something not a course, but a workshop. I'll be one of the first attendees there. He does a tremendous job. So if you need outsourced sales team help, he's got some YouTube interviews you can go watch, and when talking with Jeremy and all that good stuff. So some tactical takeaways. And Josh unfortunately talked at the very end, so everyone was a little bit more tired, but I tried to stay there for as much as I could on just soaking in a couple questions on how to create sales team culture. And these were some of the nuggets that I took away. 1, AI call notes. They were dialed on another level. We have some basic summaries from Fathom, but they had this prompt that lists all the questions that were asked in a row, summarize the main pain point, the desires, product questions asked by the prospect, so they can re-inform the marketing team on all the input for the pre-call process. So any continually asked questions, they will make a resource for. Objections, if any, same thing. And then next steps from the call based on how it was disposed. So you're either enrolled, or it can guide the sales rep for what to send next. And I'm really obsessed with this idea of AI-driven contextual post-sales call information, or asset creation, things that really aid the process after a call has happened when a deal hasn't closed. So I'm gonna implement this as soon as this week. Another was just weekly marketing and sales sync. We already have this queued up for first thing Monday morning in an hour here, or a couple hours here. But what I like the most about this is how he bans the word lead quality from the entire organization, because it's not specific or mathematical. So unless you can give specifics about what made the leads low quality relative to baseline, the rep is probably just being emotional. And so they do a great job with their AI call notes, are leads presenting more financial objections recently, or are you just being emotional, where it's okay, X of the last 30 said on an open wallet that they were below $1,000 a month or whatever it was. That's actual data that lead quality has decreased, but otherwise it's just a sales rep being emotional. So I really like banning that as part of the culture there. Another one was having reps forecast their percent likelihood of closing a deal that didn't close on the first call. So you should be able to almost forecast your pipeline saying, hey, I have 7 in the pipeline with like 25% deal expectation on average. So that's like 2 deals. And then you can calibrate it over time where reps stop BSing themselves if they think they had a good call, but and rate them as like an 80%. They keep doing that, but their pipeline ends up lower. It means they're either not hitting their follow-up or they are just letting smokescreen objections get through. So really cool here. We're gonna implement that as well. And then last thing, we talked a little bit about how you can create a culture where reps want to work on nights or weekends. His advice on that is like, you can have some guys try to do it, but if you try to have the same guys work 8-hour days and then take calls at night, it can happen occasionally, but don't try to build that in. They're just going to burn out. So like 8 to 9 slots per day, rough max, and then have specific closers that only sell at night and only sell on the weekend, and see if you can like have enough lead quality to get them there. So you can almost bring in part-time guys or have 1 or 2 guys open up their calendar late, see if you can fill it. I'm of the camp that anytime you open up a calendar more, you will find a way to fill it, especially if we are investing more in paid. That those call slots will get filled. They might just be a little bit more expensive to fill, but I know we can. So I'm very interested in bringing on some closers who only sell on the weekends, or like having a setter who takes calls on the weekends. Something like that will increase the overall throughput. So that is it for the event. All in all, very good stuff. Highly recommend Jeremy's YouTube and Mastermind if you're looking to scale your marketing. That's it for this video. I have another video that breaks down all my takeaways from Alex Hormozi's VAM event, which is their higher ticket mastermind. You can go watch that here. Like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.